Hello everyone and welcome to Solano Live. I'm your host Bushon Barnes. On December 1st, 1998 will mark the 11th annual observance of World AIDS Day. This important public health initiative launched annually in the United States by the American Association for World Health encourages community support for HIV, AIDS education and prevention programs. The World AIDS Day commemoration opening ceremonies will be hosted by Solano Community College in Building 1400 at 10 a.m. Monday, November 30th. Today I have two Solano College students who are involved with this event. We have Phil McCaffrey, President of the Association Students of Solano College, and Quinton Crawford, President of African Student Association. Thank you both for being here this evening.
Thank you for having us.
Tell me what attracted you both to getting involved with this event. Let's start with Mr. McCaffrey.
Well, the HIV/AIDS prevention and education program, I think, is a very, very worthwhile cause. So many young people are unaware exactly what, HIV or AIDS even is. There's misconceptions. They say dirty needles or homosexual sex, and that's not true. I mean, there's ways of it being transmitted through heterosexual sex as well as through operations with tainted blood. I mean, there's just a number of ways. So when it's classified or put off to just one socioeconomic group, that's a misconception, that's a stereotype, and that's what we need to break. We need to break those barriers down and tell them exactly what this is, the whole thing's about, and the ways to prevent it, and to educate them on the whole issue.
Okay. Mr. Crawford, why did you join this event also?
Well, that much the same opinion on the subject of AIDS in this county. I'd like to add that there aren't very many, say, black organizations involved in World AIDS Day, and especially in this county. Churches or organizations, youth organizations. There's a high incidence of AIDS, really, I believe about 2/3 more cases or so of AIDS in this county of African American youth. So there's got to be some organizations involved in this, and we're proud to be one of the leading organizations involved in this.
Okay. Mr. McCaffrey, can you tell me who's expected to be in the opening ceremony?
Well, Mr. Crawford and myself are going to be giving speeches in the opening ceremonies, as well as the president of the college here, Stan Arterberry. Other guests from different elected offices, one of them being Helen Thompson, who's just recently elected to the State Assembly last evening. She's expected to be out, as well as several other local officials in the community, and members from the Solano County Community Planning Group for HIV and AIDS Education and Prevention Program.
Okay. Mr. Crawford, what other activities will people expect to see at this event?
Okay, now there are some open slots of time that we have to fill. They're not going to be fully confirmed until 2 weeks from now. Right now, it's suggested for events for the World AIDS Day opening ceremony, and throughout the week are having guest speakers, especially for nighttime on Wednesday night, because there's nothing going on campus in that night for AIDS. There's some students on campus that wish to some songs, Amazing Grace, and it's consideration of having African dance presentation during this time.
Okay. Now the theme of this year's World AIDS Day is Be a Force for Change. Mr. Crawford, can you tell us what the meaning behind this theme is?
Essentially, it's self-explanatory. Just each person is either a part of the problem or part of the solution.
Right.
And just that, be a force for change.
Right.
Each one, if you want to be a force for change, act. If you don't, then you're just a part of the problem.
Right. Now this year's theme highlight the impact of AIDS on the African American community in Solano County. Based on the reports of HIV transmission from 30 states, African American males represented nearly 50% of all new HIV infections among males aged 13 or more in the United States in 1997. Even more astonishing are the data that indicates that African American females represented more than 2/3, 69% of all new HIV infections reported among teenage and adult females in 1997. Mr. Crawford, can you tell me some of the reasons why you think many African Americans have HIV and AIDS?
Okay, first, I'd like to, a small clarification there. AIDS is a full-blown action of the virus, HIV. Second, on answering your question, I believe that one of the main problems that are happening right now in our community, I guess in other communities as well, is that in high schools, there's a lot of students out there that in various high schools are having sex on the campus, off campus, of course. I'm not one to say that you know, the parents are not doing their job or the schools are doing their job, but these students need to be made aware of AIDS, other diseases that they may be getting and are getting, according to reports. And well, essentially that's the main area right now that I believe AIDS is coming, well, being spread through. It's through the students of high schools not knowing anything about AIDS or much about HIV, spreading the virus among themselves, and older youth in this age range.
Okay, last year an estimated 5.8 million people worldwide were newly infected with HIV. More than half of all new infections occurred in young people between the ages of 15 and 24. An estimated 30 million people throughout the world are infected with HIV, and approximately 90% of them, 27 million, are completely unaware of their HIV status. Mr. McCaffrey, if a person who knows he or she had unprotected sex, what should he or she do?
Well, I would recommend that they consult their physician or their doctor immediately and get tested, and then basically ask the doctor, consult with the doctor about if they've had different sex partners, if they have one steady one, what are some of the precautions? Get counseling in that area, or basically just abstain from it altogether. As some people, there are programs that in high schools, for the younger kids, they've made vows to abstain from sex while in high school. There's other things out there, but they need to get tested. If they've had unprotected sex, the best thing that I could tell them is to consult a physician and get tested for it. Places like here at the college, they do free testing on occasions for that. It's completely confidential.
Okay. Have any of you known someone who has had HIV or AIDS or who has died from it? And if so, has it affected you in any way?
Yes. A friend of mine from high school contracted HIV. I haven't heard from him since for at least, it's been at least 5-6 years I heard anything about that friend way back then. And a girl I know, her cousin died of AIDS, full-blown AIDS, a few months ago. I didn't know the person, but still, anybody that dies, anybody you know that dies or know any way, you're going to feel it in some way.
No, I've not personally known, but I've had friends of mine that have known people, and I've seen how it's affected them, and it just seeing how it affects them, you can kind of get a grasp on what's exactly going on with this and why people need to do things like the education and prevention programs.
Right.
It just makes sense, and a lot of times people come in too late sometimes, but we feel we're getting a good jump here, and we're trying to get the young people, and college campuses are a big hit. I mean, we've got quite a few thousand students here, so.